Good morning and welcome to another episode of the J Ramble 745 Bladed Platoon channel. Without further ado, I will review the Dbad Roman Gladius, or I should say Gladiator sword, short sword by the Cookery House KKHI the policy. Dbad KKHI. This is the sword that conquered the world. First and foremost, I want to say something. I'm not very familiar with two-edged swords, even short swords like this. So, forgive me if I'm holding this thing wrong, But one of the cool things I like about what Dbad did with this particular style of gladiator type blades is that he put choils on both sides here, or that's how they designed it in the Cookery House. So you can literally choke up on this thing and stab and thrust, which is really neat. It is heavy, but it's very well balanced, as you can see. I don't know how these guys keep doing it at the Cookery House. They just know how to balance a blade really well. Which it did the same thing for my Ottoman Turkish sword. So, and balance is a very important thing when it comes to bladed swords, short swords, long swords, because that will determine whether or not, when you take a swing, if it's going to kill your arm or not when you're thrusting, slashing, cutting. So yeah, very well done. I love this handle, by the way. It's made from rosewood, full tang blade. Look at the thickness on this blade. This is ridiculous. You know, of course, that's the edge, but the thickness overall. Yes, the weight's more concentrated here, but it still keeps it balanced. And it is made from rosewood, and it is one full solid piece. So this is really, really well made and well crafted. I got a more traditional sheath this time around from the Cookery House for this particular blade because obviously it is a historical weapon based off the Roman gladius sword, the short swords that they used to conquer the world. Roman centurions would fight with this weapon. They would have their shield here, and they would form up in a big old phalanx style formation, battle formation, and they would block whatever they had. Of course, their main weapon was the spear. That's what they used. But when the spear was done, or was broken in battle, they would whip out this bad boy and finish off whoever was in front. It would have been a foolish mistake if you're an opposing army to fight a well-disciplined army like the Roman centurions were. These guys trained for combat all days of their lives. So they were very well versed with this weapon. So without further ado, I'm going to give you a little bit of the dimensions of the Dbad Gladiator short sword from the Cookery House KKHI DePaul. Right now, it's on sale at the at the Cookery House. Yes, it's Dbad's design, but at the Cookery House is $170. Every now and then, the Cookery House will have their specials, their discounts. That's unfortunately when it looks like it's done until later in the year during Christmas time. Assuming tariffs don't affect us. Which is a conversation for another day. But yeah, $170 US plus $43.72 in shipping and handling. I know you guys are gonna be like, "Oh man, that's expensive." Yes, it is, but well worth the purchase, because if you try to buy a Gladiator knife like this, fully authentic, you're spending anywhere from $500 to $1,000, maybe even more, because of the way it's forged and the history behind it, and because ordering a sword like this, man, this is so sweet in the light. Just it takes time to make, you know. These aren't reproduced manufacturer type blades. All the weapons that they make, all the knives, all the swords, all the custom design bladed weapons that they make at the cookery house, it is done by a person in a Smith type forgery, sat down, dirt, debris, noise. I don't know what their hazmat laws are like over there, personal protection gear laws are like over there, but they literally make this hand forged. No two Gladiator, Dbad Gladiator swords are gonna be exactly the same dimension wise. They're roughly gonna be right around the same size, give or take a centimeter or two. But the exact dimensions of it's gonna vary depending who made the sword and how they made it, because it's hand forged. They're really sitting there, they're smithing down the folding process to make the blade. They're pounding it. They're doing whatever they need to do to make this thing happen. So the overall size of the blade is 15 inches. That's actually, where is my tape measure to give you a more exact? Right around 15 inches. Mine's a little shorter, what it looks like. No, 15 inches. So the overall blade from here all the way to the tip is 15 inches. The handle size is 7 inches. So whipping out 7 inches. Mine is a little bit longer than that. Mine's about 7 1/4. 7 1/4 inch. The width of the blade from edge to edge, from here to down here, we're looking at about 2 1/4, and then it tapers down, of course. Boom, boom. So at the widest, we're talking three and a quarter at the widest part of it, which is from here to there. And the overall thickness of the, I can almost guarantee this thing is probably around a quarter. Yep, quarter of an inch thick on the spine, from there to there. So, yes, it's a very. I just love the way this feels. It's a heavy blade, yes, but it's not too heavy. Gotta be careful because I don't want to cut my electric guitar gear that I have down here. I have my amplifier down there. But yeah, the handle's made from rosewood. So 15, about 22 inches overall, from here all the way to the tip of the sword. So it's a pretty lengthy blade. The actual weight is about 1,340 grams. Overall weight, if you include the sheath, is about 1,600 grams. See what else? The blade finishing is mirror. So when they say in the cookie house, how do you want your blade to look, blade wise, the looks, the aesthetics, mirror finish means it's glistening in the sun the way it's looking at it right now, and it's a pretty cloudy day outside, but it is glistening and it is mirror finished. As you can see, it's not dull in design like it is in the Dbad War Machine knife, but there's a reason for it. Okay. The blade material is made from 52-100 steel. What is 52-100 steel, you ask? 52-100 steel, believe it or not, is the same kind of steel that is made to make the springs in your shock absorbers on your vehicle. So, they take a rusty old beat up 52-100 steel, they pound it, they forge it, they make the layers upon layers, and they flatten the metal out to make this blade happen. And it is one big old giant piece, as you can see. All right, there's nothing. I mean, this sword should not break. And if any of the blades at the cookery house or crockle knives or any other knife review that I do breaks on my channel, we got a problem, because I do not do a destruction test. That's for another YouTube channel somewhere in on YouTube. There are plenty of them. Just gotta look. Of course, the blade thickness is 8 millimeters, or 1/4 inch. Handle finishing polished. In other words, it's lacquered wood. I mean, it's very nice. I like the pattern on this wood. See that? That is a well-designed, patterned rosewood. Very beautiful. Just, I can't say much. I can't say anything really negative about this sword. Honestly, it's designed to do what it's gonna do. The release date of this particular blade was 2024 August 22nd. So it was released last year. So it's been on their website for a bit. Tang type full, of course. The type of edge grinding, there's none. Edge hardness 55 to 57 HRC. And blade grinding is full, flat. So it's another way of saying that this is a full tang blade. And it is very, very, very sharp. So yeah, this is definitely a blade that if I was in the Roman army, I would definitely take this to battle with me for sure. It's battle ready. Why not? Of course, the sheath, it's in old traditional style, all black leather Nepalese style sheath. You got the belt loop right here. You got one strap right here, but for this particular kind of blade, you do not need more than one strap. There's a reason for that, because when you're in battle, you want to whip this thing out as quickly as possible. You don't have time to fidget around trying to unstrap here and unstrap there. You know, you want to whip this thing out and unleash hell with it. Now, obviously, I'm not going to go and fight somebody out in the street with this thing. You know, this is a little much. But I do love the look, the feel. Yes, it's a heavy sword, but it's very well balanced. So without that being said, I can't talk today. Let's go outside and whip it out and see what it can do. All right, so we're out here. Hopefully you can see where I'm at. Not. Let's I'm gonna go ahead and do one of my first tests. Hopefully this will work. I mean, it's dead wood, so unfortunately. Well, you know what? I might as well. Went through that, no problem. So here goes my drop test. It stuck right in. Again, this is dead wood, so I'm not expecting it to perform the way I wanted it to, but here is my drop test. Went right through. Now, that's a pretty thick log. I know it's dead wood, but it just gives you the idea of how balanced this thing is. Obviously this log is absolutely just done. See? Split that into it, no problem. There you have it there. And we kind of wanted to showcase to you guys what the Dbad Gladiator blade could do. Let's put that over there. So I made mincemeat out of my dead wood. As you can see. Now, the way I conduct my test is a little it's homemade style, let's put it that way. You know, I have a special crew of people where, oh, excuse me, I got dirt in my hand. But that's how I conduct these tests. And honestly, the Dbad Gladiator knife, you're not going to use this to chop wood or to dismantle seed or anything. This thing is not designed for it. So I'm just trying to keep it real with you guys. Let's do another drop test, see if this works. Oh, it punctured. Look at that. Yep. And it went through pretty deep. It went deeper than my killage. So yeah, that's pretty deep blade. So it did that and it did that. And I bundled these together like so, just to show you what it'll do. The way I conduct these is not very safe, but hopefully you can see. Yeah, I got this piece of cedar. Cedar's tough. And I'm hitting it with the edge here, because that's normally where you would cut. The cedar's pretty tough. But as you can see, it did no damage to the edge of the blade, none whatsoever. Let's see what else I could bang this with. Alright, so I'm back, and let's see. So I took this piece of old block here. Show you what else I could do. Man, it's sticking. Yeah, it's just going through this, no problem. And again, you would not use this blade to cut log and wood, but I'm just showing you that it's doing that to an old stump like this. Let me see if I can do a baton test. Won't be able to because this is double-edged. Now we're really thinking about it. Well, you know what? Let me see. And it went through. The way you would normally do a baton test on a blade like this, you can't really do it because of the edge, because you will damage the edge if you try to do a baton test with a blade like that. But you can still hack down, like so. And yes, it's biting right through this wood. No problem. It's eating at it. So it's doing that kind of damage to it with just a couple shots. See what else. So I'm gonna give this thing a full-blown knife stab thrust, just to see how thick it went through. And yes, it did that damage, and it went through pretty deep. That's a deep wound. Imagine this sword going through you like that, which is what this weapon was designed to do. It's a thrusting weapon, and it's leaving a big old gash just like that. Imagine that being punctured through your stomach, through organs, through flesh, even bone. You're not gonna have a good day if you get stabbed with this weapon. This is more of a thrusting weapon. It's not really designed for cutting. Can it cut? Absolutely. I just showed you that it did on that log when I hacked down on it. But the intent purpose of this Gladiator, Dbad Gladiator knife, is to thrust with it. So again, as I mentioned before earlier, I'm not really familiar with double-edged blades like this, but I'm pretty sure that when the Romans came out and fought in their formations and they lost their spear in battle and whipped this thing out, they're doing something like that to their enemy. That goes through you. If you're a Celtic warrior, you're done. You're history. You're not gonna have a good day. So I showed you a little bit of what it could do. This is very tough cedar. It's withstood a lot of my blades, but it hasn't been able to damage them either. As you can see, there's no damage to the edge of this Gladiator, and not even the tip. I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple more tries on the drop test and see what else this thing can cut as well. So that penetrated, that went through, and whoop, almost had a catastrophe there. I left the gash that deep, and my cardboard's pretty thick, and I left the gash that deep on the drop test, so it does drop. I do it in 1, 2, 3. And then a stab. Boom. Yeah. I left the gas pretty deep in there, and still no damage to the tip. I'll put that in there. I'm going to show you a little cutting test with the rope. So let me get about right here. And it's going through the rope. Yep. Went through no problem. One more time. Boom. We did that and that on this test. So yes, this blade can cut. See what else I can hack down with. So 1, 2, 3. Boom. Perfect cut. With that. I did that because I didn't want to hurt the big one. 1, 2, 3. Perfect cut. Now, I'm not even using a lot of power here. 1, 2, 3. Went through. 3. This has hit me, everyone. And the reason why I'm cutting these small ones is because I don't want the small ones to take away from my big one on the palm tree, because I want my big ones to grow. So a little tidbit there, if you want to ever grow your palm trees, cut the small ones once you have your big ones, so you give more water to your big ones, and they are growing. So other than that, that's pretty much it for the Dbad Gladiator short sword, the sword that conquered the world once upon a time ago, if you were Roman. And it is hot out here, I ain't lying. It is humid, it is hot. Welcome to Texas, baby. But yeah, that's the Dbad Gladiator short sword by the Cookery House, KKHI Nepal. I'm your boy, J Rambo 745 Blade Platoon channel. My channel, of course. Until the next episode, stay safe, be humble, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.